found out who I am again. I've got sort of my own passions back, and we've had, I think, 2 trailblazer days since. We've been wild swimming, hiking again. It's just, that's what I used to love, getting out in nature, going on big hikes, and it's sort of that, reignited that passion to do that. But yeah, I just think I'm a better person. Like after the retreat, I realised that it's important definitely to fill up your own cup.
Hello, good morning, ladies, and good morning, everybody tuning in to this very special conversation. If you don't know who I am, my name is Claire Ackers, and I am the host of the Rewilding Retreat, which is the absolute joy of my heart, the Rewilding Retreat. It is the perfect blend of business, luxury, and adventure. And luckily today you're not going to be hearing from me about that because I have managed to strongly invite three of my previous rewilding attendees to come and tell you all about what we get up to. And what's really lovely as well is that these three don't really know each other and have all attended different retreats. So we haven't scripted this, we haven't really planned it, and I am just so grateful that I have amazing women like this in my world who, when I say, hey, you'll come and jump on a live stream on Friday morning and talk about their retreat experience, they go, heck yes. So over to you three, and Chloe, I'll come to you first. Could you just give us a really brief intro to who you are, what your business is, and which retreat you attended?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Chloe Fellows. I'm founder and director of Hayes Environmental. We're an air quality consultancy based over in Worcester. And what I do is help businesses think about air quality early. So I attended the October 24 retreat. So that was my first retreat, back in October. And yeah, that's me. And I'm booked onto another one in April.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Chloe. Juliet, I'll come to you next.
I'm Juliet Ralph, and I am the CEO of employment law firm Robinson Ralph, based in Leeds. And I went on the October last year retreat in North Wales, and I'm going again in May.
Amazing. Thank you. And then Mia.
Hi, I'm Mia. I own a political consultancy in Leeds. We help organisations kind of influence change based on their insights. I am a rewilding OG, if I'm allowed to call myself an OG. I was on the first ever retreat back in November 2023, and I'm booked also to go in May.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for making time for this conversation. Um, so, first question then. How were you feeling when you came to book on your first retreat, and what caught your eye about it? Because I think that's really important to people, is kind of understanding what kind of inspiration you might need to go, you know what, I need to go on retreat with Claire. So Mia, I'll come to you first.
Yeah. Um, so at the time, I'd just actually taken over ownership of the business a year before. It was pretty much a year to the day before we went on the retreat. And I was just feeling like it was a whirlwind. It was the hamster wheel of just reacting and responding. And I felt like my time was being kind of pulled by clients and by the team. I've got a team of 7. And the first year of business ownership, it was like amazing and exciting, but just really, really hectic. And I felt like I didn't have any time to think, and it was just that constant kind of reaction. Um, so I think you had marketed the retreat as a kind of, I think you pretty much said, if you feel like you're on the hamster wheel and you need some time to think. And I think that was what appealed to me, was just the stepping out of the day to day and actually carving out that time to kind of pause and reflect.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much. How about you, Juliet? How are you feeling? What caught your
Uh,
eye?
yeah, so well, it's that, I mean, very similar. It's that, own a business, got 2 kids, 2 dogs. I love my life, don't get me wrong, and I love being busy, and I'm really good at getting shit done, but sometimes it feels like none of it's about me, and I was feeling a bit lost. and just I'd lost myself a bit. So I'm good at all this. I can run the business, I can do it all, but what do I actually want to be doing, and am I actually happy? So it was just the opportunity to sort of take that step back and just to be able to go into nature and just to have that special time was just really appealing.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And then Chloe, how about you?
So for me, I know me and you, Claire, we'd been working together for quite a while, and you'd mentioned the retreats, and I'd sort of been thinking about it, and I'd missed out on probably at least two. So I would definitely like keen to go on that October retreat. And yeah, the same sort of thing that me and Juliet have been saying, really. I knew I wanted more sort of out of my business, but also out of me. I'd probably forgotten a little bit who I was. Again, I've got two girls, running a business on my own. Um, and yeah, I just wanted to sort of be like present there more for my kids, but also get my business ideas flowing as well.
Yeah. Thank you for all those thoughts, you three. And Chloe, I just want to pick up on something you said because I think it's as women running the business, giving ourselves permission to take that time out and make that investment both time wise, emotion wise, and financially as well, let's face it, is often the hardest thing about doing it. And I could see you, Chloe, kind of chomping at the bit to come, but just not being able to give yourself that permission to go, fuck it, and I
Yeah.
need this for me. And I'm really pleased you said that because I think that's quite common. And I think there'll be a woman watching this who's like, you know what? Oh my gosh, you've called me out on that. So thank you for saying that. Um, in your opinion, what makes the rewilding special? Because there are a lot of retreats out there, right? And I know that you've got a choice about which retreat you go on. So for you, what makes the rewilding special? Juliet, do you want to take this one first?
I think for me, I mean, again, obviously we'd worked together, and I know that you've got a really special tribe around you, and as we always say, you don't attract dickheads. so, so I knew that anyone that went would be similar to me, like-minded, so that was obviously a plus. But I think it's just the it's like a magical mix of um the nature and the chance to just do something different, and alongside that to have that connection
Yeah,
with those other women. I think that was the real sort of draw for me, was that connection piece, I think.
totally, totally, absolutely. Mia, how about you? What makes it special?
I think the thing that appealed to me initially was the nature element, and I think that's the thing that made me feel kind of most alive coming out of it at the end. I felt like it was like this real life affirming week where you're like, oh my God, like this is what it is to be alive. Like I shouldn't just be sat in front of a screen for 40 hours a week. And I think, like Juliet was saying, it was that one of the things I came away with it was the real power of being with women for a week, and women that you didn't know going in, but within probably the first hour you'd gone from some very polite hugs to all sort of belly laughing or crying on the sofa, whatever it might be, both at the same time sometimes. So
I
yeah,
got
that the ne-
goosebumps when you just said that. Anybody else?
Mm.
and I felt like I came away with like these real deep friendships for life. And I don't see the women often that were on the retreat, but when we get together, it's like the same as your sort of childhood friends. You can just slip straight back into it because you've gone through something very like deep together, I guess. So yeah, I think that was the magic, and just the blend of, being outside but also having that time collectively to sort of journal and talk about things, and also the time on your own to reflect.
Yeah, yeah, that's so important, isn't it? Because I know I've been on retreats before where the itinerary is jam-packed and you kind of frog march from activity to activity with none of the percolation time. And for me, that liminal space in between for say activity, it kind of degrades what the stuff that we actually do, right? But it's that liminal space to integrate, to just dream by yourself, to curl up in a nook and cranny with a book and just by the fire and just have that space. It's so precious and so magical and so needed. How about you, Chloe? What makes the rewilding so special?
So I think sort of touching on what you said there, I think you've created this sort of like this retreat, this sort of safe space that you literally can you leave your bags at the door, and yeah, we all met each other, and by that first evening meal, we were all sat around like we'd been friends for years, sharing stuff that you wouldn't share with anybody. And yeah, you just build those friendships that, yeah, I mean, now we chat regularly, we're all supporting each other's businesses, really know you can count on those other women. I mean, for me, I think if you're looking for a retreat that's just sort of a relax, a bit of yoga, herbal tea, it's not that. I remember saying to Sarah on sort of my retreat, I was like, Claire never said it was going to be this hard. And I remember like before the big hike, having a bit of a wobble, a little cry, thinking, God, I don't think I can do this. I've got questionable fitness. I've not done a hike like that for years. I didn't think I could do it, but you got us there, you got us to the top, and just that sort of sense of achievement. And you think, "Oh, if I can do this, I can do anything with my business." And then sort of taking a dip in that infinity pool and seeing, for us, remember the stag in the distance just come over
I
in
do
the
remember the
distance, and
stag
it
in the
just like
distance.
all like everything, like it's almost like magic happens, isn't it, on the retreat. We had the northern lights, didn't we?
We did.
We had the sheep when we were all doing the shamanic journey with you, that the sheep all lined up, didn't they, at the window, you said. It was just,
We did.
it's like
Yeah.
almost like magic.
Yeah, it really is. And okay, let's talk about the hard bits. So I was having coffee with somebody the other day. I won't say who they are, and they were saying about a retreat that they'd been on, which was, there was, it was essentially hiring a house, then having loads of free time to go shopping or just go and do what you want, really. And for me, that's not a retreat. A retreat for me is about changing your life. I don't take your investment, emotional time and financial lightly. And we've got the 10th Rewilding retreat this year, and I am unapologetically claiming my space and saying that if you come on the Rewilding with me, you'll go home a different person. And there are elements of the rewilding that can be hard. So whether it's that, oh my God, how on earth am I going to get up that mountain? Or, you know what, I'd really rather not take my clothes off and swim in that lake, thank you very much. Or even, this conversation feels a bit vulnerable. It's uncomfortable. And I do that intentionally. You remember we call it the I hate Claire moment. And I will embrace that I hate Claire moment, TM Carly Watson, because that I hate Claire moment means you're on the verge of a breakthrough. And it's my job to hold you in that discomfort, to realise that you're safe so you can experience what's on the other side. And gosh, I don't know if anyone's got any thoughts on that. And I wasn't planning on saying that, but yeah, I'm just unapologetic about that. There will be some stretchy bits, but oh my gosh, you will come back remembering how courageous you are and how brilliant you are, and what a big mission you've got in the world. And I think that's pretty special, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your favourite bit? What's your favourite memory of coming on the retreat with me?
I looked at my pictures this morning actually, because I was like, oh, I'll just go back and have a little reminisce. And the look of pure joy on my face is I just like, oh God, yeah, I just had such an amazing time. But I think, I mean, I got a bit obsessed with wild swimming, to be honest, because I think we did 5, didn't we? And we were just like, more, I want to do it again, I want to do it again. I just absolutely loved it. And just that, camaraderie of all kind of standing there, like, I really don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. and then doing it, and then just that absolute buzz was just amazing. I absolutely loved it. So yeah, it was brilliant.
Yeah, amazing. How about you, Mia? What's your favourite bit?
I think in terms of like the overall, people always talk about it's not what you said specifically, it's how they make you feel. Like the thing when I think of retreat, I just feel like your sort of heart being so full of joy and like Chloe was saying, the magic and yeah, the sort of life affirming nature of it. And not to sound dramatic, but I do feel like it's one of the best weeks of my life that you'll like take with you and remember as an experience forever. Um, I think specific moments we had the final morning. So I, unlike you, Juliet, I hadn't really conquered the wild swimming. Sort of gone in a little bit, but didn't feel like I'd fully sort of got as far as I wanted with it. But I woke up on the last morning, we were meant to be leaving, and I was like, no, I want to do this. I really want to do it. So, as is the nature of a rewilding a retreat, before 7 a.m., had managed to convince everyone else that we should go down to the lake. And our retreat was November, so I think we set off and it was kind of, it was still dark. There was this beautiful crescent moon, and it was just, yeah, a sort of magical morning where we walked down to the lake. The mist was rising. We saw a
We
whole
had red
family of
squirrels as
deer.
well, didn't we?
Yeah, red
Remember
squirrel, a whole
squirrels?
family of deer sort of watched us go past. And we went into Ullswater and sort of, there was snow on the mountains. It was absolutely freezing. As the sun was coming up and it was perfectly still, wasn't it, Claire? Do you remember? It was like sort of glass reflecting this pinky sky. And yeah, just feeling that kind of sense of invincibility and like, yeah, I can do anything, like Chloe said. And I've actually come back to that moment when, if I'm doing a talk or about to go up on stage and you think, oh shit, like I don't know how I feel about this. And then I'm like, no, you bloody swam in a lake in November. Like you can do
Yeah.
this.
That's the
Yeah,
moment,
that
isn't it?
was the
When you
moment.
do that.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think that was the specific moment that stays with me, but the general feeling is just, yeah, definitely that sort of artful. And also the importance of going back to kind of laughter and silliness and just, we're all generally everyone doing it sort of owns a business and you've got to show up and be very serious, haven't you? And look like you know what you're doing and you've got your shit together. So just the vulnerability of that, I think, was really special.
Amazing. What about you, Chloe? What's your special memory?
So yeah, I think the special memory definitely was that sort of big hike. I mean, it had everything, didn't it? The pushy bits, that amazing sort of dip in the waterfall pool, um, you know, eh, the laughter when I slipped down. Remember slipping down on the descent back down. It was just so funny. We were just all like belly laughing.
There was a bit of we involved, I have to
Probably,
say.
yeah. Um, and the favourite bits I think is who I've become after. It's changed, who I am. Realizing I have got to fill up my own cup. I've been there more for family. Taking us on more adventures. 2025 for my business was just a total up level, and this is all sort of on the back of the retreat. What that allowed,
Wow.
yeah, me to become
Yeah.
really.
Well, that segues us beautifully because that was going to be my next question: is how has life changed for you following retreat? And we're working together, Chloe, aren't we? So obviously, I know intimately what you've been up to, but and you've kind of said that you're going out more as a family, and 2025 has been great for the business. But is there anything else? Has life changed in any other ways since you've been on retreat?
Um,
Was that about cover it?
I think it about covered it, yeah. But it is that, you get to, and my kids are 13 and 10. I had forgotten, who Chloe was. I was that mom, running my own business. It can be very isolating, and it really has sort of, changed. I found out who I am again. I've got sort of my own passions back. I also fell in love with wild swimming. And we've had, I think, what, two trailblazer days since. We've been wild swimming, hiking again. It's just, that's what I used to love, getting out in nature, going on big hikes, and it's sort of that, reignited that passion to do that. But yeah, I just think I'm a better person. Like after the retreat, I realised that it's important definitely to fill up your own cup.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. How about you, Juliet? How's life been different since you came
Yeah.
back?
Well, I think for me, I mean, it's very similar. I think there was just like something shifted inside me. So it was like this kind of quiet confidence appeared and this kind of sense of bravery as well, which I think probably came from, it came from the challenges and but also from, being able to be vulnerable with people as well and just be able to be like completely open and sort of up for doing anything, like the shamanic journey, all these things that you'd probably look at and be like, oh, I don't know, but you just got there and everyone was so up for it, so you just open yourself up to all this stuff, and it really did just shift something in me. So I'd been sort of battling with whether or not to change my role in the business to CEO, and I talked about it for months and months and months, and I was like, I'm not sure, and I came back and I was like, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm absolutely doing it. So it's just something shifted in me, and I feel that real sort of confidence in myself, in what I'm here to do, in what I want the business to do, but also that I need to look after myself as well. I think one of the things that came up for me and that made me feel quite emotional when we were there was that I've forgotten how to have fun. Like I used to be so irresponsible. I was an absolute nightmare, and suddenly I'm like this, responsible business owner with kids, and and I was like, I want to get back to that. And if you look at those photos of me, you can see that cheeky face again. I'm like, it was there, it's still there. I can bring it back.
Yeah.
So yes, it was brilliant for me. It's been a real factor in how I've changed.
Amazing. I'm just having a quick swizz to see if I can see cheeky face Juliet quickly. Because, yeah, your face in that water was
And
just an utter, utter delight. Nearly got it. Oh, yeah, this is a good one. Look at this. Look at that grin.
yeah, just
We need
properly
more.
laughing, and don't show the one of me dancing on the beach in my swimming costume, but
Don't do
just
that.
prancing around, like just
Yeah.
being there. So yeah.
But this is the kind of CEO and MD and leader we need. People who are amazing at their jobs, but also are values led, impact led, and heart led, and are authentic. So, yeah, absolutely. And oh my gosh, Juliet, obviously we're working together and watching you go, my word, missus. It's pretty amazing stuff. Um, what are your thoughts, Mia? How have things changed for you since we came back? Obviously, it was quite a while ago for
It was
you.
quite a while ago. I mean, I think both what Chloe and Juliet said, sort of, yeah, definitely echo all of that in terms of remembering like the love of nature and being outside and how much better you feel when you do that. All of the stuff around the importance of kind of rediscovering joy. And I think, it's not like a nice to have optional extra. Actually, when you put that first, then the way that you show up in your business and for your team and for everybody else is just it just all flows so much better. But I think it's also very easy for that to get lost in the day
Yeah,
to day.
yeah.
And then I think the main thing for me as well was about kind of leading in my own way. So I came to the
Um,
retreat having taken over a very well established business run by a kind of old white man who was brilliant and he was an excellent mentor, but he did things in a certain way, and it was a very male dominated industry. And I think one of the biggest sort of light bulb moments that stayed with me since then is actually I don't have to try and be that. I can be something different and do it my own way. And that can be equally brilliant and wonderful. And actually leading with kind of intuition and empathy and all of the things that you tap into on the retreat. That's actually what works for me, not trying to demonstrate some very masculine values and replicate something that's already been done before. So I think that was the big shift in terms of how I showed up in the business since then.
yeah, And we've obviously had chance to have a beacon session together, haven't we, just recently? And I'm not going to give away any confidential conversation, but that ripple effect has happened, right? You are absolutely doing what you set out to do. So gosh knows what's going to happen in our retreats this year, ladies. Woo! Cannot wait. Okay, so final question then. So, what's the question? I can imagine there's a woman, whether she's running a business or leading a business or owning a business, or whatever stage she's at, whatever the job title says, who is watching this and is sorely tempted, but is on the fence for some reason. Perhaps there's a lot going on at home and she can't quite give herself permission to go, you know what, I need some time for me. Or maybe she's been struggling from the crap that's going on outside that window. And I just want to acknowledge that, we have been and still are going through a really tricky time in business. And so I don't take lightly the emotional, time wise, and financial commitment it takes to go on retreat. And what would you say to that woman if she kind of is being called towards coming on the Rewilding, but is just, kind of teetering, thinking, shall I, shan't I?
I mean, other than just do it. I think the I think
Yeah.
the main thing is because I do think that for me as well, the investment, it does feel a bit like, oh, can you justify this? How do you tell the rest of the team that you're spending this much money? Will they just think you're going on holiday? That kind of a thing. But I think that the benefits just blow out of the water the kind of the time, financial, any sort of commitment that you're worried about. Like we've all just hopefully said, like it's so nice hearing other people's experience of the retreats as well. But you can just see the transformational difference it's had both for how everybody feels, but then the impact that they're able to have on the business and going out into the world as a person that's led by kind of joy and with a full heart and has the capacity to be there for other people. And I think it's just, it is the importance of filling up your own cup and putting yourself first to be able to then do all of the other bits afterwards.
Totally, absolutely. Thank you. Juliet, what's your thoughts?
I think I would see it as an investment. You're putting in this time, but it's absolutely with a view to improving things, whether it's for yourself, whether it's where you're going with your business. It's an investment in you, and it's a gift, I think, to yourself as well, because it's your time there is just amazing, just being out in nature, just having that experience, and that is wonderful. But then, as you've heard from us, that the repercussions when you get back, it's not a selfish thing to do at all.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, it's just something that will change, I think, how you think, how you approach things, and yeah, couldn't recommend it anymore.
Amazing, thank you. What do you think, Chloe?
Yeah, I think it's definitely, give yourself the permission. I think there's something really powerful about, going away with a group of sort of like-minded women, all in the same position, and just, you're sharing the same sort of experiences, and you can really sort of, it's great to feel that you've been supported. You've got other people that, know what you're going through. So I definitely think, yeah, give yourself the permission to do that. I think there's, something powerful about that. And also, I think it's worth saying, you obviously, you carefully curate this, and, there aren't dickheads that go, they're all really nice women. And yeah, I've got lifelong friends now from retreat. It's just fabulous women. There's no one there that's sort of moaning about what we've got to do. Everybody just embraces it, and keen for the challenge. They know that, well, you go on retreat because you want something to change. You want to, empower yourself, and everybody's the same.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. Lovely. Is there anything else that anybody wants to mention that we haven't covered?
No, I don't think so.
Cool. Amazing. So, all that remains for me to say is we have got 2 retreats coming up this year for which there are just a couple of places left. Now, I keep my retreats really small. I know that a lot of people like to do them a bit bigger and there's all sorts of twin room situations. I don't do that. We have double rooms all to yourself, all with en suites as well. So that's how I run my retreats, quite small, and we've got a couple of spaces left for the April retreat and for the September one as well. So if you're watching this and you feel interested, give me a shout sooner rather than later, because they don't hang around for long. So all that remains is for me to thank from the bottom of my heart